Hello everyone. Give everybody a few seconds to get on here. I am just finishing up painting my canvas. I'm running just a minute or two behind. So I am going to get this paint on here. I apologize for this. I had all of my canvases pre-painted. Apparently, I guess, minus this last one. So I assumed it was finished. And I went to get started tonight and it was not painted. So I'm just throwing some paint on here real quick. There we go. La-di-da. We got a blue and a white. And a paper towel. All right. Oh, I see Kathy's on. I see 6 people have hopped on already. That's awesome. Awesome. Let's see here. I need to pick a winner from yesterday still. So anyway, let's get started. I'm a little frazzled because I didn't have the background painted. But welcome. My name is Tara Lynn, and I'm your host for the New Year, New Hobby Challenge. I am a manila maker. I also run the Kaleidoscope Club. We do the New Year, New Hobby Challenge every year, so I can introduce new people to the hobby. And I hope that you find it as easy and rewarding as I do. I absolutely love it. We've been working on patterns designed with snowflakes, which is appropriate because most of the country, especially the Midwest and the South, is under a snow alert. So very appropriate. I hope I didn't bring that into us. Anyway, these videos will be available as replays for a full week of the event. And so you don't have to rush, but if you participate with us live, you can do the giveaways and things. So I have one rule: don't stress. Have a good time while you do this. Treat this as practice sessions so you can get to success. Uh-oh, I'm cutting out. Let me see if it helps if the mic closes. Sometimes I have a little bit of a mumbling issue. Hopefully this will help. I'll try to remember to talk louder. Okay, so first, what I would like to do is pick the winner from yesterday's giveaway for the 3 mandala tools. And so in order to enter that, you need to post a picture of your design. All right, let's see. Terry Atwell, you are the winner of the tools. So Terry, I will post in the group as well, but go ahead and send me an email at connect@terralynpew.com. I'll put that in the chat with your address, your full name and address, and your tools. Does the sound any better? Is it sound worse? Let me know. Yippee! She said. All right, I'm going to mute for just a second to dry this so I can get my stencil. All right, so I've got my stencil ready. We'll get started in just a second. Before we do, I just want to mention that tonight, the only requirement to enter the giveaway was to be present for the live. So do me a favor if you're here. I know you guys have already been commenting, but if you are here live, in the chat, I can make a note. I ask you to do YouTube name or name, funny little number. Throw your name in the chat. I will make a note of it. And the prize for this is 2 free months in the Kaleidoscope Mandala Club. If you're already in the club with me, you can still enter, so still throw your name. All you have to do is be present for this one. I'm less of us here trying these lines. That is really weird. Let me see. Mexico. I switched my microphone. Is this helpful? If this is helpful, let me know. It sounds better. I'm marking down your names as I'm seeing people comment. All right, I think that seems to be working better. I wonder why that's happening. All right, I switched my microphone, so I will. Yes. You know, you can spend all the extra money on fancy equipment, and it doesn't even work the way you like it to. All right, so to enter the giveaway, if you've missed what I've mentioned, pretty much Terry won the free dotting tools. Yay. And in order to ensure the giveaway for 2 free months in the club, you just have to throw your name in the chat so I know you're here. I will ask again a little later this evening before we finish in case anybody else shows up. And we're going to get started on our design. So I'm going to get my paint out. For this one, I used white and blue. I used a metallic blue, which was kind of fun. And then a glitter for top dots if you want to, totally optional. So I'm just going to get my white and blue out here. All right, the center dot today is 10 millimeters with the white. So next what I'm going to do is this ring here, and this is a ring of 24. So I'm going to do 12 dots with the white, 1.5 millimeters, my teeny tiny stylus. If you even have, for those of you who are daughters, if you have a smaller stylus, if you have a 1 millimeter, you could even use that. But we're going to go pretty small here. And first I'm going to do my 12 dots. I'm going to do my north and south, always start there. So we're going to do the teeniest, tiniest dots. And then if you're feeling brave, we're going to add some blue dots in between those. This one's driving me nuts. So we're going to get rid of that one. So 12 teeny tiny white dots. That's one on each line. Then I'm going to use that same stylus and I'm just going to add one teeny tiny dot in between. As with all my patterns, anything I do, if you don't feel like it's going to work, don't try to force it. So if you don't have enough room, don't do these teeny tiny ones. So we're going to end up with 24. These are all the same size, 1 or 1.5 millimeters. Then we're going to switch to the large end of the stylus, 2.5 millimeters or 3 millimeters, depending on what sizes you have. I'm going to reverse the pattern. So next, I'm going to start with blue on the lines. I need to leave a little bit of space just so that these are all going to fit. So don't go right up next to that previous line. Leave a little bit of room so we can get these in here. So where we have a white dot, we're putting a blue dot next to it. So we're going to end up with 12 blue dots. Oops, and you know what I did not do tonight is put up that picture. Let's get that up there. There we go. Then in between those, we're going to add white dots. We're going to end up with 24 dots total in this ring, alternating blue and white. Those are really squishy. Next, what we're going to do is I'm going to add these 6 dots here. So they are going to go on every other line. 6 millimeters white paint. Or I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong size. You can use 6 millimeter. It won't look bad if you've already dotted. But this one was actually 8 millimeters. I apologize. So I'm just going to squish that first one a little bit bigger. 8 millimeters white paint. We're going to make 6 dots. These are on your 6 main line. If you've got the 12 arm template, it's every other. Then what we're going to do on these is we are going to have a center dot and we're going to walk the dots on each side. So I'm going to use my large stylus 3 millimeters and I'm going to put that center dot in with white. In this last pattern here, we're really combining everything that we've done this week. So we've got dots, we've got walk the dots, we've got swoops and swipes, we've got teardrop shapes. So this is kind of a mix of everything. Once you have your 6 center dots there, we're going to walk the dots on each side. So I'm going to switch to my small end of my stylus, 1.5 millimeters. And I'm going to walk the dots on each side, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do 6 on each side. I think walking the dots is my favorite element to use. They can get a little tedious when you're working on big pieces or when you're adding lots of layers to petals, but I really like to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Done. So I am just going to mention, if you want to enter the giveaway tonight, all you have to do is put your name in the chat so I know who you are and I will mark it down. I'm showing 12 people here. We went down and went back up. So if you haven't entered the giveaway, put your name in the chat. What we're going to do next is these teardrop shapes. So we've got our 6 petals here, and I want to make a teardrop that's going to start beyond that petal. So I'm going to go out to my line right here, and that's where I'm going to make my dot, and then I'm going to pull it into a teardrop. So I'm going to use my 6 millimeter tool. I'm going to make that dot, and then I'm going to use my smallest stylus to pull that into a point and fill out the teardrop shape. And we're going to do 6 of these, 1 in between. What we're going to do next is add these swipes right next to those teardrops. And I used my 1.5 millimeter stylus. I'm stumbling over my words like crazy tonight. And the blue, and these are just straight swipes. I usually, on this design, I started up by the top, so up by that line. And I do need to pull that twice to get it down to that point. So go nice and slow, pull it until you run out of paint, and then start back up at the top, and then pull it down to that point. One on each side of that teardrop. All right. Then we've got 8 millimeters. We are going to do these dots on the lines. These go next to the white petal with the walking the dots. 8 millimeter tool. Make sure you're holding your tool straight up and down at a 90-degree angle. Gently kissing the surface. I'm just going to throw this up as kind of a reminder that it's just supposed to be a little smooch. You want that paint to kind of smush out from underneath, but you don't want to feel like you're stamping your surface. Next, I'm going to use my 4mm blue paint, and we're going to go next to these teardrop shapes. So 4mm, and I'm going to put a dot just beyond that teardrop. Then I'm going to use my 8mm tool. Next to that blue dot, I'm going to put an 8mm white dot. We end up with 6 of those. We're going to walk the dots and create this large petal shape. And this goes on the outsidemost dot, the ones that are next to the teardrop shapes. So we've got our 8mm dots out here. We are going to place a center dot and then walk the dots around these. So I'm going to do my 6 center dots with my 3mm tool, my large stylus. Once you have that large dot, flip to your small end, 1.5mm, and walk the dots on each side. I can fit 7 or 8 comfortably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to do 7. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So then I'm going to get my 4mm tool, and I'm going to start adding the second layer of the petal. And so my center dot is going to be 4mm. So I'm going to add 6 of those in the center there. And then I'm going to walk the dots a second time with my 3mm tool. So dip and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dip and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dip and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For these swipes here, I am going to use my 3mm tool, and I'm definitely going to have to swipe, like do a double swipe. So I'm going to dip into my paint. I'm going to start my swipe up by the top dot, and I'm going to swoop it down to touch that blue dot underneath. So I'm going to pull till I run out of paint there, re-dip, in, and until it gets down to the bottom. This is definitely one where I need to re-dip and add more paint at least one time, because these are longer. Part of the reason why I included these big long swoops is because I had more than one person tell me that they struggle with swoops. So I thought, well, we'll try some long ones and some short ones, and we'll get some swoop practice. These long ones are generally what you'll see. A lot of people will tend to use brushes for those. And there's nothing wrong with that if you like using brushes. I tend to lean towards swooping with my styluses because that's how I learned. Brush strokes for some people are easier, for some people they're harder. I kind of compare it to the difference between knitting and crochet. You're, you're both hand making a fabric, but knitting is a different, you use different tools to make the fabric. In knitting and crochet, it's kind of like that with your swoops and your swipes. You can use a brush or you can use a stylus, and you get similar but slightly different results, and both are pretty. Next, we're going to do these long lines of walking the dots. And I actually cheated these. These extra two, I added on. So what we're going to do is start with our 3mm stylus and white paint. And so I've got this circle here. That's where I'm going to start just beyond that circle. And I'm going to dot 5 times. Dip and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If on your pattern you don't have that circle, it's kind of use your eye, or you can draw with your chalk. It's kind of in line with that first dot in the petal. So just use parts of your existing pattern if you need to eyeball it to kind of show you where to go. But you can absolutely and use your chalk to make, add in a circle or draw in lines. I do that all the time. Oh, good, Kathy. Kathy said she's not intimidated by swoops anymore. And I think that's fantastic. I love that for you. I remember being so frustrated by swoops. And then one day I just got it and I was like, wow, that's way easier than I thought. But I avoided them at all costs. A lot of my early dot work, I just did with dots. Frustrated me. All right, so once you have that line of walking the dots, I'm going to add an additional dot with my 4mm tool. Just beyond that. And then I'm going to use my 5mm tool and I'm going to add one more dot. So that's how I got that really long line. I won't do more than 5 or 6 when I'm walking the dots in straight lines like this because they're hard to get even. Usually if I go really long with them, I'll kind of keep it like this. And then the last part of the base of this design is we're going to use our small stylus, 1.5mm. And then on each side of this, I'm going to make a straight swipe. And you can do you can make it curvy. It's kind of up to you. But I made mine straight on the sample, so I'm going to stick with that. So it's white paint, and on each side of the walk of the dots, you're going to make a swipe. And I think the hardest part about this last thing is just not putting your hands in the paint. And then I'm going to dump these out. I'm going to start writing everybody's names. If you have not put your name in the chat and you want to enter to win the last giveaway, throw your name up in the chat. I've got Kathy. I've got Becky. I've got Kim. I've got Terry. I've got Heather. I've got Mara. I've got Shelly. So I am just going to start folding these up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pick the last winner of our giveaways here. Ooh, that one wants to be the winner. It is Kim. Congratulations, Kim. You just won 2 free months in the Kaleidoscope Club, so you can keep dotting with us. Yay. So again, I've been throwing my emails around, but up in the chat again. Send me an email. Kim, let me just put giveaway or something like that in the email, and we will get you set up. Congratulations. This is it. I am going to let you all go rogue for top dots because there are absolutely no rules. So let your first layer dry. Go bonkers with your top dots. Absolutely post it in the group. I want to see what everybody has made this week. I will post some more information in the group for you because I know we have some newbies, so there might be questions about where to get supplies or what to do next. I did have a New Year, New Hobby last year that I would like to share with you. And so I'm going to send an email out to everybody on how to get that for free so that if you want to keep playing with that, you can do that at no cost. And that way, those of you who are just starting and experimenting with dot art have the opportunity to do it with smaller, easier designs. Last year, we used a lot of really bright, beautiful colors. So I will send you out an email about that. Those of you who have won the giveaways, I will get those. My plan was to get those packaged and out in the mail tomorrow. Here in Ohio, we're preparing for snowpocalypse, so hopefully I'll be able to do that. If they don't go out tomorrow, definitely they'll be in the mail on Monday. Congratulations to everybody who won. Thank you all so much for joining. Make sure you post your pictures in the group. Please continue to encourage each other and look in the group for some more information about some fun stuff. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.